All right, welcome to the fourth and final game of the evening, Doomsday Paradise. Can you get a date before the end of the world? Doomsday Paradise is a goofy multiplayer dating sim about finding love before the apocalypse. With over 100 different endings and 12 different singles to woo, no two games will ever be the same. Right, so it's interesting that they went with that angle because yes, this is a sort of like dating sim is a large part of the game, but um, this thing threw me off because you look at this and what are you thinking? Visual novel, right? Like it's not a visual novel. It's a RPG. Like right down to including actual RPG battles. Like,
Interesting.
yeah, um, didn't come up. It doesn't come up in the bullet points here. Um,
Hmm.
I'm not sure why. Um, and the actual goal of the game is to thwart the literal apocalypse of the week.
Of the
Like,
week.
yeah, it's like apparently a doomsday scenario happens, so often that everyone in the city has grown so apathetic that you know that it's a rite of passage for newbies, i.e., you, and whatever avatar you pick here, various monster people of various varieties. Um, I'll be honest. I think a rather large mistake the game made was making these avatars too avatar-ish. That is to say, um, any sort of characterization they get, it's in things like their animations and what happens in battle. In terms of like playing out in the text interstitials, it's very much, choose your own adventure visual novel dialogue. Like, it's a bit of a paradox, given how much character is in these designs, in these animations. You know, it's a different approach. I'll give it that. Not necessarily one I 100% agree with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, anyway, so the actual gameplay scenario here is you have up to a week to train for the world-ending apocalypse. You've got to fight the Doom Rider or the
Mine
big
says
black
the
horse.
Dark Knight.
Dark Knight, that's what it was. Surprised they went with that because Batman might have a few legal words
Batman
there.
or Square Enix.
Well, I mean, Batman, like, maybe it's too generic a term, but, I'm just pointing out that Batman often goes by the Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, point is, your job is to train or don't. I'm not your mother.
Mm.
The point is, you have a week, depending on the difficulty level. Like, what the difficulty level does is it just selects the amount of days. Like, easy is 5, medium 6, hard mode, such as it is 7. The game never gets particularly hard. It's just the difficulty section is just for length, for whatever that's worth. Anyway, so each day plays out where you select a thing which will allow to pick an item. An item's been left here. Do you want to do a certain thing? Like, do you want to train? Do you want to flirt? Do you want to party? And party in this context is actually not actual partying. Which is another big factor in the overall game, because right before the apocalypse battle is what they call the Doomsday Party. That's where that's the big romantic set piece, where you can get together with your crush. I think Petty. I forget who he designated, but you can designate up to, like, I think 8, like one of the 8 initial selectable characters. There's like hidden suitors as well. I think 4 or 5. Like I've seen the number 12 and 13 here. Like they could have added something. Like, and this is a game where gender and such things doesn't matter. Like, in fact, it doesn't matter a whole lot. Which, how do I put this? Could be a potential issue.
Yeah.
Though I don't feel
it shouldn't be an issue, but I know how society works.
Well, no, it could be an issue in the other direction, actually. Though I don't feel qualified to speak on that. Like, people who identify a certain way or not, could have a bit of trouble with that. Like I said, it's outside of my range of expertise. So I can't really speak towards that. But it's like, the fact that you play a girl who might be wooing another girl, or another guy playing a guy, it never comes up. But here's the thing: I know those kind of mechanics can be surprisingly controversial. But like I said, I do not have the bandwidth to get into that. And once again, I'm a straight guy, so I don't feel really qualified to be talking in that area in too much detail, because I cannot really speak to that. But I will note it. Like, anyway, so your job is to, either be the best, or hook up with a romantic date, or basically do what you want. Because once again, tying into another bullet point here, there are over 100 endings, specifically 120, and 40 and 400 individual scenarios. So there's a lot of overall content. The thing is, this game is centered around replayability, because even if you pick the longest option, this a run is going to last you at best half an hour. Like, so, this game isn't a great time investment. There is also a multiplayer component, but as usual, I cannot speak to that because it's local only. So whatever the multiplayer consists of, I really couldn't say. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the scenarios and endings are tied to multiplayer in various ways. And another thing I was surprised about again, this is going to sound odd, but I was kind of surprised at how not horny this game is. I mean, make no mistake, this game definitely has a dash of horniness, especially if you look at the art. Lot of well-sculpted muscles, lot of attractive humans and monster people. But, it's decidedly like PG, maybe at best PG-13 affair. So, rated T for teens. I don't know. I think that might just be, us coming off of a lot of manga gamer stuff. But, I will note, this game is a lot more wholesome than perhaps its bullet points and its Steam page would give off initially. So that's why I didn't have to issue any sort of content warning for this. There's no real objectionable nudity or, sexual situations, anything like that. So, do with that what you will. Anyway, in terms of pricing, this game will clock in at $14.99. The soundtrack is $4.99. Thought the soundtrack was okay. Honestly, kind of unmemorable. Game bundle is $17.98. Probably the preferred solution here. What do I think of this as a game? Like, it's certainly unique. It's another one of these games that I've certainly seen the elements before, but I've never played anything quite like it. I can't say I've ever engaged in a product such as this particular mix before, in quite this fashion. In terms of its execution, it's pretty competent, though I wouldn't buy this for the RPG mechanics. They are very light.
Mr. Sargent says, for not being a visual novel, that's a lot of paths for the characters.
Like I said, yeah, it is. Because, once again, this game takes a half an hour to play, as opposed to the 100,000 hours your average visual novel takes. So, it knows where its time is invested in. Now as far as, is this the kind of game I'm going to be playing over and over again? For me, no. Honestly, 3 runs was well and good enough, but, I didn't really feel compelled to, do a loop. The writing is fairly clever. Not amazing, but not as dry as it could have gotten either. Overall, I think I'd give it a recommend. Not an overwhelming one, but not a mild one either. Right, so any other questions, comments, or concerns over Doomsday Paradise?
I think I'm good.
I should also be good.
All right. So yeah. That'll about do it for this installment of the Fragments of Silicon reviews. So coming up on the week ahead, on Wednesday, January 10th, we'll be having Jeff Mundy and or Chris Scribner of Reframe Games. We're going to be talking about their upcoming project, which is, let's say, releasing very soon. Full disclosure, they have told me they did tell me the release date, but it's at least when they sent out the email, it hadn't been publicly confirmed. It may have changed, but I don't know right now, so I won't mention it. But anyway, we'll be talking about their upcoming game, Noxia Somina, which is an action horror exploration affair exploring psychological fears. Sounds interesting. They've got other games like Guide, Quiet Islands, and Cubics. Wonder if that includes any robots for everyone there. Anyway, and we do have a Friday show, at least planned. I haven't heard back from the guest, who is Claudio of Kybe Software House. Tried to get him on the show a couple of times already. It hasn't panned out for one reason or another. If we do get him on the program this week, we'll be talking about Arcadia Colony, which is a 2.5D anime style Metroidvania. We actually reviewed this a few months back. Unfortunately, if I remember correctly, this is one of the bad games we covered last year. So there is that. Though so much time has passed, our review might not be remembered, or he never watched it. So either is possible. Look, I send them the review link. I cannot make them watch the review. It's up to them. Anyway, we do have a new episode of MSP planned. But unfortunately, Mac is in severe life crisis mode again. So, it's always touch and go with him. Well, I suppose that matters less right now because, his internet is down. Or at least, internet he can stream over is down. So, we have MSP playing on the Fragments channel for the time being. No idea how long that's going to last because, Mac doesn't know how long that's going to last. This is troubling and frustrating, but there's not a lot any of us can do about it. So, with that in mind, until next time, I shall wish you good gaming.